Welcome, fans, to the pro wrestling reality. Most fans who have been following this major entertainment industry over the past decade are sure to be familiar with major modern industry journalism giant Conrad Thompson. From his humble beginnings within the finance and mortgage professions, he has now recently risen to become one of the top names within the podcast world when it comes to covering that monumental entertainment profession. Even now, donning the name of the Podfather and that major modern industry journalism giant certainly has his hands deep into that entertainment industry cookie jar, often recruiting various legendary performers to have their own exclusive online radio program in which Thompson acts as the co-host. From lower tier talent like Bruce Pritchard or Eric Bischoff to major monumental entertainment names such as Mick Foley and Kurt Angle. Many performers within the industry are clamoring for a spot on one of Conrad's radio programs. In fact, getting an online radio program with Conrad for aging or retired performers within this industry is becoming a more monumental business opportunity than even working with one of the major entertainment promotions. When Thompson gets the wandering eye as bigger names join the ever-growing roster of Conrad's podcast conglomerate, the smaller, less impactful industry names seem to slide down to a much less important level. When Conrad launched his major new endeavor, Foley is Pod, industry Hall of Fame names like Jim Ross were put on the back burner and made to be featured on that original radio program with an entirely different name other than Thompson, as he moves his focus to bigger industry cash cows such as Foley or Angle. As Thompson acquires more and more industry names, like a child adding another action figure into the toy box, the lower tier guys should have concern for their financial positions. Names like Jim Ross or Bruce Pritchard just aren't drawing the major interest like they used to. His most troubling on-air moment, in my opinion, was when Thompson and Hall of Fame creative mind Eric Bischoff went blow for blow regarding the finish of that 1997 Starcade event. While Eric was discussing the inside workings of the storyline at that time, you could tell that major modern industry journalism giant was hot, yelling and berating Bischoff for his creative decisions in relation to that modern box office Terry Bollea main event, in which he took on that popular for its time Steve Borden's sting character. During his angry tirade, Thompson got in the big line while passionately discussing Eric's poor creative decisions. "You effed the finish over a tan? Is this real?" He then accuses that entertainment industry creative legend of lying through his blanking teeth. In another shocking incident, as featured on the Hannibal TV Shoot interview with future industry Hall of Fame legend Buff Bagwell, in a bizarre rant, revealed that at a recent Starcast event, allegedly, while Bagwell was selling photos and DVDs at his merchandise table, that modern major industry journalism giant demanded a cut. After years of giving his body for the fans' entertainment, it truly is shocking that Bagwell came forward and made the allegation that he was seemingly extorted by Thompson. Thompson is also a big risk, high spending industry collector, sometimes even admitting on his own various radio programs that he has spent tens of thousands of dollars for luxury, historic industry pieces, which he openly displays in his radio studio. Recently, in a social media post, son of industry legend Mr. Wonderful was openly flaunting his father's robes, sure to be a hot item for any high-risk, high-spending industry collector. We reached out and made the comment that myself and many other fans of that major entertainment industry do not want to see this piece fall into Conrad's hands. Then, moments later, that major modern industry journalism giant responded by saying, "Agreed. It would be a real shame if it wound up being shared with fans at conventions, having documentaries created about it for fans to see. There are two types of collectors in this world: those that share and those that keep it private. I see which you prefer." We then passionately responded to Thompson by saying, "Conrad, you already have your hands deep enough into this industry cookie jar, having exclusive access and first pick regarding various historical pieces. It's time to step aside and let blue-collar fans now own some of our history, instead of it becoming a piece of your podcast set." The son now of Mr. Wonderful seemingly kneeled down to the podfather, replying to this heated exchange by saying, "To be honest, if I didn't have my dad's memorabilia, I would be happy if Conrad was the owner. He has shown the wrestling world the utmost respect, seemingly hot to possibly get that massive monetary contribution from that major modern industry journalism giant for his father's collectible piece. which will then be interjected into Conrad's radio podcast set, but then claiming that it will be shared with the fans. Recently, the Podfather now is involved in another controversial scheme. Although he has had major success overseeing that major industry, he is now taking it a step further, promoting his own entertainment events within the industry fan-based spectacular Starcast. If you follow the Podfather's social media postings, you may have noticed that he is currently very active in promoting, good Lord, Ric Flair's last match. The situation has fans very divided and very emotional as well. Flair, at 73 now, will be stepping into the ring once again for a tag team performance. Flair has had many public controversies and issues with his health over his long-spanning Hall of Fame career. In fact, recently, as we discussed in a prior investigation, that along with his rage issues, major allegations were just only recently surfacing related to the Nature Boy, exposing himself to women. Claims were made that even up until his 40s and 50s, Flair would often be running up and down the hotel hallways, exposing himself. And it is frightening to think that if Flair once again feels, after leading up to this performance, that he once again is at the peak of his youth and continues to have these issues going forward. As far as Flair's health goes, there is a major concern on the part of fans. I personally fear that we could be preparing to witness the haunting and thought-provoking ending to that major box office smash hit film, The Wrestler, essentially play out in real life here now. More than a decade ago, my God, in the year 1998, in a seriously concerning situation, Flair, during a heated and passionate performance, seemingly suffered from a heart attack live on the air, right in the middle of that entertainment stage. So in this day and age, having that modern major industry journalism giant just throw Flair out there once again, especially at this age now, truly is troubling. The performance will also feature failed entertainment industry name Jeff Jarrett, who has his own history having issues with the bottle, including one recent event where he showed up for his entertainment performance drunk and was reportedly ranting and stumbling around backstage. There is major concern at this point that this history could come to haunt Jarrett once again. Recently, it was discovered that while preparing this investigation that, shockingly, Thompson now is married to one of Flair's daughters. Now, this following claim is only speculation and not fact, but we do know that Thompson has that powerful financial background. And after Flair's years of service in this industry, and night after night of sacrificing his body, that Flair is sure to have a very high-end life insurance policy. And it truly brings up the question that if anything serious does happen to Flair in this match, and if any tragedy does take place, it could possibly be very profitable to the Podfather. He knows all the ins and outs. And that speculated situation could be very troubling and leaves only one question when it comes to Flair's final performance. Will his blood be on the hands of that major modern industry journalism giant?